Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tequila B with TruLuv Designs, and today's video is going to be a part 1 update to the last Friday Sews video that I did. Told you guys that I would be making a pencil skirt and a dress, and in today's video will be the pencil skirt. I will include the supplies and notions that you'll need for the skirt, as well as a little sew along. And at the end, I will insert pictures of how my skirt turned out. So stick around. Okay, so for taking your measurements, you want to make sure that you have on clothing that is fitting, or either your undergarments, so that you can get an accurate measurement. So the first measurement we're going to take is the length of your skirt. Now, we are getting this length starting at your waist. Some people have different meanings of where their waist is. So wherever you like to wear your skirt, that's where you're going to measure down from. My pencil skirt will be a high-waisted pencil skirt. So I'm going to start measuring just about an inch or two above my belly button. And you can have someone else help you take these measurements, or you can do it yourself. So if you're doing it yourself, my high waist is about here from my belly button. Just walk your measuring tape down. Make sure it is secure here. Walk it down with your fingers to where you want your skirt to end. And my skirt is going to end right below, just a little bit below my knee. So I'm going to use 24 inches. Now, because we do have to account for the hem, which will be 2 inches, and the casing, in this case, which will be 2 inches, we're going to make it 28 inches long. And you'll want to write whatever that length measurement is for yourself. So our hem allowance will be 2 inches, and then our casing will be 2 inches wide. The reason I'm using 2 inches wide for the casing is because my elastic is 1.5 inches wide. And I'm going to add 1/2 inch to allow me to use my zigzag stitch and sew my casing closed, as well as leave enough room to insert my elastic. So whatever width of elastic you have, if you didn't use 1.5 width elastic, just add 1/2 inch to that, okay? Now, for your waist measurement, you're going to measure around where you're going to wear your skirt, not too snug. You're going to take that measurement, you're going to write that measurement down. So for me, it's 30 inches. You're going to divide that by 2, which gives you 15 inches, okay? Some people like to wear their skirts very snug, which this skirt is meant to be snug. But if you don't want your skirt to be so snug and you want it to be just a little looser, add 2 to 4 inches to that measurement. So for me, I'm adding just 2 inches. So my waist measurement of 30 inches divided by 2 is 15. Plus 2 for the extra room will give me 17 inches. So whatever your final measurements are, these are the measurements you will use for drafting your skirt. With your fabric folded selvage edge to selvage edge, you're going to put your ruler on the fold line, and you're going to measure out your waist measurement, which is the final number you got. For me, that number would be 17. And here, I'm drawing a line that's 17 inches long. Then you're going to take your tape measure or your ruler, and you're going to measure down the length of your skirt. For me, that number was 28. So whatever the length of your skirt is, you're going to make a mark there. And from that mark, you're going to measure out again your waist measurement. For me, that would be 17. So if you notice, this is going to be the hem of your skirt, and you basically should have a rectangle here. So use your ruler or tape measure and close out your rectangle. Once you have your rectangle completed, you're going to take your scissors, your fabric scissors. You never want to mix fabric scissors and paper scissors, so make sure you are not using the same scissors that you use to cut paper. Take those scissors and cut out your rectangle. Here I'm using my rotary cutter, and if you choose to use a rotary cutter, make sure you're also using a self-healing cutting mat. If you do not use a cutting mat and you cut on any other surface, it will cut through and leave a mark. I did it on my sewing table by accident. And my rotary cutter is a little dull, which is why I'm going back just to cut any spaces where it has skipped a little bit. Now that you have your rectangle cut out, you're going to pin the raw edges, and this is now your back center seam. Now when I work with knits, I always take a piece of tracing paper and put it as an extension to my fabric so that it doesn't push my fabric down into my sewing machine. And what you're going to do here, using a wide zigzag stitch on your sewing machine, you're going to sew down this edge using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Backstitch at the beginning and make sure to remove your pins as to not sew over them. As you get to the end of your skirt, you're going to continue to stitch all the way down. You can take that tracing paper from the front of your skirt and put it underneath the hem of your skirt now for the same reason, so that the machine does not push your fabric into your sewing machine. And don't forget to backstitch. And that paper just turns white. Once you have your seam sewn, you're going to take it to your ironing board and you're going to press that seam open. Once you're finished pressing your seam open, you can stay at the ironing board and you're going to lay your skirt wrong sides facing up, just like here, and you're going to fold over the top of your skirt so that you see the right side of your fabric. You will fold this over 2 inches. This will start to form our casing, and this is the 1.5 width of our elastic plus the extra 1/2 inch. You'll use your seam gauge, mark that 2 inches to make sure that you have it folded over just enough. As you measure out your 2 inches, you want to press that crease and pin as you go. And you'll continue to do this all the way around. Measure your 2 inches, press, and then pin. Once you have your casing pressed and pinned all the way around, you're going to take it to your sewing machine, and using a zigzag stitch, you're going to sew starting at the back center seam very close to the edge. To stay close to the edge, line your fabric up with that groove in your presser foot, and you should be fine. Make sure you backstitch at the beginning. And you may see that your fabric will want to kind of curl up as you sew. If this happens, just pull on your fabric a little bit as you sew, and this will help your casing to lie flat. And sew all the way around. Now you do not want to sew this completely up. You want to leave 1 to 2 inches open so that you can insert your elastic. Once you reach the point where you're going to stop, make sure you backstitch. Now you're going to get your elastic, and where you're going to wear your skirt, wrap that elastic around your waist, and where it meets up, you're going to mark it with your finger, and then cut off 1 inch. This will ensure that your skirt snaps onto your waist snugly and is not too loose. You're going to take your safety pin and put it in one end of your elastic, and we will use this to put our elastic inside the casing we just created. It may take you a little bit to get it started at first, but once you get it in, you'll just shimmy the fabric onto the safety pin, pulling your elastic through, and you'll do this all the way around. And as you're doing this, be careful not to pull the end of your elastic all the way through your skirt. What you can do is pin the end of your elastic to the skirt so that it doesn't get sucked in, and then you have to start over. Once you get to the end, you can remove your safety pin, and you're going to overlap your elastic about 1/2 inch. And at your sewing machine, you're going to use your zigzag stitch to sew these ends together. And you'll sew forward and then backward 2 or 3 times to secure your elastic. Make sure that your skirt and the other side of the elastic is not in the way. You only want to be sewing on the 2 ends of the elastic, sewing those together. Once your elastic is sewn together, you're going to close your casing by continuing to sew with a zigzag stitch close to the edge of your fabric. Take it to the sewing machine. You're going to continue to sew with a zigzag stitch. You will need to pull your elastic as you go so that that fabric can lie flat and allow you to sew as close to the edge as possible without catching your elastic. And you don't have to speed through this step, just take your time. Make sure you backstitch at the beginning and at the end. Now we're ready to sew our hem. Take it to the ironing board, measure out your hem as we did our casing, press, pin as you go, and take it to the sewing machine and sew it all the way around with a zigzag stitch, back stitching at the beginning and the end. Give it a final press and your skirt is complete. Now your skirt should be complete and ready to wear. Please share pictures of your finished skirt over on my Instagram at TruLuv Designz. Use the hashtag PencilSkirtTLD. I would love to see your makes. Until next time, see it, make it, slay it.